Hello, fellow audio nerds. I'm Steph, and this is Major Hi-Fi. Mr. Speakers first came on my radar with the Aeon Flow headphones, and they recently just released a few more headphones to their kind of collection here. Now, this one is the Mr. Speakers Ether 2, and I got a chance to spend some nice quality time with it this week. I know a lot of audiophiles far and wide are very curious about this one, and I was too. Well, at almost $2,000, they're definitely not cheap. But, I mean, the biggest question I had was, are they worth the money? Well, let's go back in time. I'll share with you my first impressions, and then I will meet you right back here with my overall thoughts. All right, here we go. Hey y'all, welcome to my place. So today I've got with me the Mr. Speakers Ether 2, and I'm really psyched to give these things a listen. But first, let's see what's inside the box here. Alright, so as you'll see here, there's a few different things. Got a user guide, certificate here, with a little cleaning cloth as well. The cable here, now, all the Mr. Speaker stuff, the Ether 2, come with the Vivo cable, and you can actually order it with whatever kind of termination you want. So I've got the 1/4-inch one with me right now. There's a nice Mr. Speakers kind of semi-hard shell carrying case here that zips. And let's see, yeah, there's the headphones. Wow, these are good looking. All right, so as for the design of the headphones, you'll notice that the headband has this two-tier design, these kind of metal wires here, and then this strip of, not sure if it's genuine leather or not, but this kind of strip headband underneath it. And as a result, the headband is both like super light. These headphones are ridiculously light, actually. Like picking them up, it's definitely a remarkable feature about them. And I've read that about them, but also holding them in my hands, I know why now. Yeah, this two-tier design, this headband is very flexible, seems really durable and well made. Then over here, you'll notice that these wires connect to this little yoke that attaches just to the back of the ear cup. It's kind of like bent just around, and you'll see where it attaches to the ear cup right here with a little screw there. The ear cups are large and circular, and I really like this kind of like web grill design. It's just really good looking, and especially with the kind of matte black finish, it's definitely just like a classy and cool looking pair of headphones for sure. Again, I'll mention that these ear cups are great because they're super lightweight. You'll notice then that at the bottom of those ear cups, that's where the Vivo cable will connect to both sides of the headphones. Now moving on to the ear pads, you'll see they actually have a really interesting shape because while they follow the shape of the round ear cup, the actual hole in the middle of that padding is more like ear-shaped, kind of oval-shaped. And additionally, they're not really symmetrical because they're a bit thicker in the back than they are in the front, you'll see. So they kind of like sit on the head. I like the way these feel on the head, actually. They're kind of like the headband has kind of the perfect amount of clamping force for my personal preference because it feels really secure, but it's not like overbearing. They feel extremely comfortable, and probably also because they're so lightweight. I really like the feeling of the ear pads. It's kind of a little bit of, takes a little bit of time to regain its shape in terms of like the actual padding. And then this kind of leather material, I'm not sure again if it's genuine leather or not, but it's very soft. Now, if you happen to see my video doing a review for the Ether Flow 1.1, it's actually the same kind of cable that you will get with the Ether 2. Now, these cables, the Vivo cables, they're coated in this sort of braided cloth material. They're kind of loosely put around, like you can sort of move that over the cable that's inside of it. But it feels very well made. Again, Neutrik connectors, and I love that you can order whatever termination you want on it because, different amps have different capabilities. You might want the balanced XLR, you might want the 1/4-inch, but I've got the 1/4-inch with me right now. The cables themselves are silver-coated OFHC copper So they should be very responsive, low noise floor, low impedance cable. Anywho, I'm going to get set up behind me with my amp. I'm just going to be listening through my Apollo Twin. So I've got the UA DAC and amp over there. I'll see how it drives these babies, and also very curious to see just how they sound. Alright, I was just listening to the song I'm Callin' by Tennis, and the low end has a really natural kind of feeling to it. Level wise, it kind of sits right where you kind of want it to sit in the mix. And there was, though, a little bit of a little bit of a sub boost, I think, that I was hearing, especially in this song in the kick drum. It definitely came through in a tight and punchy way, but I was getting a little bit of that, like, subbiness through that kind of helped contribute to just like the energy of that kick drum in the mix, even though it didn't really change the level of it. Alright, I was just listening to the song Daydreamin' by Middle Brother, and the mid range is really interesting actually. Now, the sort of like low parts, low strings of the acoustic felt like they had a little bit of emphasis. The low mids being pretty like thick and as a result kind of like stepping forward in the mix a little bit. Now the vocals seem to sit right where I would expect it to level wise. I did seem to hear like a little bit more like nose in that vocal than usual. But I think the thing that I found most interesting about listening to this song was that the acoustic guitar, its attack was sort of ducked a little bit quieter in the mix, and that's something I wasn't really expecting from these headphones, but an interesting thing nonetheless. I'm gonna keep listening. Wow. Yeah, this is really an interesting sound signature here, and I like it. It's aesthetically pleasing. As for the high end, I was listening just now to the song Miles Runs the Voodoo Down by Miles Davis. And in that song, kind of the snare rolls and the cymbal hits were a little bit quieter in the mix than usual. And kind of that song just came through with like a really nice sense of warmth that is really, really nice with these headphones. Now, like the emphasis on those cymbals and those snare rolls was more so on kind of like the airiness. There was also like a little bit of a emphasis on the attack, but really kind of the sense of like it's kind of hard to explain because when you listen to the headphones, they don't. It didn't really seem to come through with like this crazy sense of like brightness at all. But there is like this sense of kind of airiness and pleasantness that I got from that was especially clear in this song. All right, I was just listening to the song "I'll Show You" by Justin Bieber, and the soundstage on these is I really really like it actually. In that song, it was just very clear that his intimate sounding vocal really contrasted nicely with the further off kind of melodic synth part that was going on, and then meanwhile, the wide panned kind of synth pads going on just felt really expansive outward. And then, of course, this song has a lot of deep lows, and then Justin's vocal has some of those really nice highs. And because of that, you get this really nice sense of height. So, all around, I'm really digging this headphone right so far, and I'm excited to keep spending some more time with it and analyze the sound signature a little bit because there's definitely some interesting stuff going on, especially in the mid range and especially in the high end. So yeah, I'll meet you back at the Major Hi-Fi office with kind of my overall thoughts. All right, here we go. The Ether 2 has a nice sense of low frequency extension, and additionally, there did seem to have a little bit of a boost in the sub bass. But in general, the low frequencies felt really natural, and I think they worked well for a pretty wide variety of genres. As for the mid range of the Ether 2, the low mids have a little bit of a boost. This kind of gives extra oomph to things like bass guitars and electric guitars. The middle part of the mid range feels even and natural, and as a result, you kind of get a lot of nice complexity there. And electric guitars sound pretty cool. there is a little bit of a cut actually in the high mids, which I was kind of surprised at by these headphones. And as a result, it kind of makes things feel kind of more relaxed than usual. I found that I liked the sound of this mid-range better when I could boost the volume up a little bit, because I could kind of get that extra clarity from the high mids that I kind of felt like I was missing at lower volumes. But that said, it does kind of help avoid any harshness. So there's kind of a nice sense of warmth with the mid-range. As for the high frequencies of the Ether 2, there is a little bit of a boost in the lower treble. There's also a little bit of a boost in the upper octave. Now, the upper treble kind of has a little bit of a dip. Now, as a result, vocals do regain a little bit of articulation from that lower treble boost, but there is a little bit less kind of texture, I guess. You do get some sense of airiness, but in general, I was kind of surprised because it felt like the high frequencies in general to me felt more modest than I was expecting them to. There is a nice sense of quickness, kind of to everything across the frequency spectrum, though, and it kind of brings more life to it. The soundstage of the Ether 2 is wonderful across all three dimensions. The sense of depth does a great job of maintaining a sense of intimacy, but also really kind of letting things that live further back in space really kind of be there. And it has a sense of nuance for sure. Same thing with the heights. You really kind of get a nice tall image, and even though the high frequencies, I've sort of described them as feeling a little bit modest or light in general, in reality, listening to the soundstage, I think that there's sort of more there than I perceived it at first. So take that as it will. I think it kind of shows the sense of character with the Ether 2. And it still has a really nice sense of height with lots of contrast between the highs and the lows. Overall, the Ether 2 has an aesthetically pleasing sound signature that's really interesting, and does a really good job of avoiding sibilance and harshness. It has a great sound stage rather, and it does have a nice thick mid-range that I think a lot of people will really enjoy. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to check out another perspective on the Mr. Speakers Ether 2, be sure to check out the description box down below, because I left a link there to my colleague's review of the same headphones. Thank you everybody so much. Give us a thumbs up if you liked it, and hit subscribe for more videos like this. Alright, thanks. I will see you next time. Bye.